Hey there friends, how's it going today? David Potts with Song Notes here, and a lesson coming your way for the 59th Street Bridge song, Simon and Garfunkel. Rich, this one's going out to you. Thanks for the request, thanks for your membership on my Song Notes website. Let's get into this one. This is a really cool fingerstyle song, Travis picking song. I'll talk about how to play it exactly as Paul Simon does, but here's the deal. And if you've never watched my lessons before, everyone, understand, I don't just show you the finish tab and expect you to copy me and that's the lesson, right? That's not necessarily going to help folks in my experience. So what I like to do is sort of walk you through things step by step. I'm going to sort of show you my suggested path of practice, and I'll give you some cool little exercises you can do along the way that'll give you a way to play the song. It'll be a bit simplified here or there, but it'll get you confident, get you those reps in, and then you can kind of build up the skill, muscle memory, etc., and you'll be able to play it like Paul Simon in no time. So let's get into it. All the good stuff I have, my practice notes, some zoomed in, slow video playthroughs of each exercise with tabs on screen, and I have a part 2 video looking at some percussive fingerstyle. That's over at songnotes.net. That's my website, made with care. Thanks to all of you who are supporting me with membership. If you dig my lessons, consider becoming a member. I'll talk more about that at the end of this lesson. Let's zoom on in and learn this one. So the cool part about this song is you only need these 4 chords for the entire song. Okay, I'm going to talk about this A minor because there's a weird thing Paul Simon's doing, but straight up, it's just this 4-chord progression, right? A C, a G over B, an A minor 7, and this G major. Okay, now a couple things you want to note here. Notice how I'm not playing the thinnest string on the last 3 chords there. The reason why is this whole voice leading kind of aspect. And let me show you this graphic here to show you this. What's on the screen right here are the same 4 chords in each graphic. But in the left, you're going to see that I have the bass notes sort of circled in yellow. And the reason why is if you listen to those bass notes, you get this cool descending sound. Okay? Right? I mean, the song uses this thing, right? Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last, just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Okay, you hear that bass note sort of walking down over and over again for the whole song, right? So that's why I've circled it there. I want you to really pay attention to that and make sure that if you can, you are playing that note cleanly when you're strumming or finger picking, as we'll do it. And then likewise on the right side here, you see these blue circled notes. I'm calling these melody notes here. The melody sort of wavers around these, right? But slow down, you move too fast. I mean, the first lyric of the song kind of mimics those blue notes there. So basically by removing that thinnest string from those last 3 chords, what you're doing is sort of underlining and showcasing and shining a light on those very distinct melody notes. And the one thing I'll note a little bit later, we're going to talk about this A minor 7. The way that Paul Simon plays it is he's just using his index finger when he's playing the A minor. So it's technically, I think, a G sus4, right? But it has an A bass note. So you could call it a G sus4 over A. But this is where chord names kind of just, don't worry about it. I'm calling it an A minor 7. Later in the lesson, I'll talk about this. I have the little red star there to designate when this is being used. Don't let that trip you up there for now, though. We have some bigger fish to fry as far as the progression. So let's look at the timing and everything. The entire song uses this 4-chord progression played over 2 measures. So it's going to be 2 count on each chord, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow down, you move too fast. You've got to make the morning last, just kicking down the cobblestones. And I recommend sort of going through it like this at first, getting a sort of a bounce in your body and your hands, feeling that rhythm, and you could sort of play along or sing along, right? Capo 3rd fret as well. That's the first approach. Now, to get a little bit more like Simon and Garfunkel, even if you have a pick, you could do a bit of a sort of walking bass line. So on the chord, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We want those bass notes to really ringing out, right? That's going to sound like this in tab format, right? Slow down, you move too fast. The chord shapes don't change. It's just when we play them, right? This is another thing you can practice if you want to sort of get some reps in with the bounce and everything. Groovy. Now, but let's go to the fingerstyle thing. Before we get to the Travis picking, I'll show you one easy way to do this. It's just a 3-finger approach, right? Your thumb is going to play the bass notes, and then these 2 fingers are going to play the thinnest 2 notes of every chord. So that would be, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how you're getting that sort of voice leading, that descending bass line but also you're getting this sort of melody. Right, those blue circle notes that I talked about earlier. That's one way to do it. And another little tease of something you could do is a bit more of a percussive finger style. You could sing along, right? Hello, lamppost, what you knowin'? I've come to watch your flowers growing. So I cannot sing as beautiful as Paul and Art Garfunkel, but you know, you can strum it, you can finger pick it, you can have fun with something really casual, you can get in that groove easily with what I showed you there, a few different options, those are all in my PDF. But let's move into the sort of Travis style finger picking that they use to really give this song its cool quality. Now this is a really fun thing to learn. I have a bunch of lessons over on my website, songnotes.net. You just click on the Fingerstyle sort of portal there, you'll see a bunch of them mapped out. I have picking patterns for every chord and a bunch of ways to break songs down step by step. It's all over at songnotes.net, and this is one of many songs over there that uses this style. This is how Paul Simon plays it, whether you watch his older recordings or something more recent. He has a great video with Stephen Colbert, for example, where you can see him backstage playing it on the guitar. And though he's kind of playing it loose with how he plucks or picks or strums things here and there, you can see his thumb sort of bouncing between strings. And that's what we're going to want to do. Okay, so the exercise I recommend starting with is this one where we're going to sort of extend every chord by 2 beats. So we're going to be on the C for 4 counts, the G over B for 4 counts, the A minor 7 for 4 counts, and the G for 4 counts. Again, this is a little bit different than the song, because the song we're going to be on 2 counts for every chord. But by giving us more time on each chord, it lets us sort of focus in on the technique. And this is a way to learn things, right? So what you're going to do is, if we just look at the circled notes first, don't worry about the sort of treble notes. The circled notes are played with your right thumb, and it's got to bounce between these bass notes, okay? And notice for the A minor, I'm using the version that Paul uses where I don't fret the 4th string. Okay, so I go from the C, 3, 4, G over B, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to get good at doing this. You could put the song on, capo 3rd fret, and just do this. Okay, it'll give you a little bit of a listening exercise. You got to stay in time. Once you get that sort of under your belt, you want to add the treble notes. Now at first, keep it simple in this first exercise by just doing a pinch on the 1 count of each measure. And you're just going to walk down that sort of blue circled notes from the earlier exercise. So that would sound like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You really want to practice this until you can do it second nature, okay? It may take a while, but it's essential if you want to sing the song especially, okay? Now, once you're comfortable with that, you can sort of shorten every measure, by half. And this is going to mimic what they're doing on the album version. Same exact walk down on the treble strings. And same exact bass note pattern for each chord. You just do each chord's bass note pattern 1 time. So that would be... Now, the thing about this is it's not necessarily terribly musical yet. It doesn't sound like the song because it's a bit, there's no syncopation. Everything is perfectly square and on the nose. It sounds like church bells ringing perfectly in time. And it's not going to give us that's like what Paul Simon's actually playing. That has some syncopation and some swing to it, right? This is more, again, but even though it's square and on the nose, it's great to practice, right? You could technically sing along, it just might not sound as like the song, right? Slow down, you move too fast. You've got to make the morning last, and right? Again, it lacks that sort of syncopated sort of swing to everything. One other last exercise for Travis picking I want to get you in the door with to help you move along is this version where you're just going to do a droning 3rd string open, right? Same bass note pattern. You can actually hear this in the song. I think it's after the first verse. It's between 30 seconds and 33 seconds of the song. There's about a 2-measure sequence where you can hear them doing this before the second verse starts. And I think of this as a nice palate cleansing way to sort of give you some low key, little low-key fingerstyle pattern before you bring in the full pattern. So those are the exercises. Now I just played through them kind of quickly. I'll have separate videos of each of these on my website where I play it slowly, tabs on screen for you to reference. And the whole idea here, y'all, Travis picking is not something you can just watch a 20-minute YouTube video on and expect to have it down. You have to put in the time. I've been playing this song every day for the last 3 or 4 days, and I finally feel yesterday and today like I can sort of jump in out of the gate when I pick up my guitar. But the first 2 days, it took me a couple minutes to kind of get used to the sort of dialect, so to speak, that this song requires, right? So again, give it some time, but those are the exercises you want to work on. Now here's how to Travis pick it the way that Paul Simon does in the first couple parts of the first verse. And I'll show you 2 variations as well that mimic what you can also hear them play, okay? So this first one, okay, this is I would call this the main riff. This kind of matches what you hear in the first verse most of the time. You're gonna have, okay, that's the tab, right? But how would I approach this? First of all, you got to know those bass notes. I've already talked about this. Be able to do this without thinking about it. And once you have those bass notes under your belt, it's a matter of adding these notes on the thinner strings. Now, this can be kind of tricky to find your footing, right? The way I would approach it is the first count, right? That 1 count on that C has nothing played. So the first treble note's going to come in on the 2 count, right? And then you're going to go to the next quarter note and do another pinch. So you're going to pinch on the 2 count and the 3 count. And after your second pinch on that G over B, you're going to go from the 3rd string to the 2nd string to the 3rd string with your index finger here, right? So one way to practice this is to repeat that first measure over and over again slowly, like this. That'll help you sort of get the feel of it, right? Then you can get to the next measure of the A minor 7 and the G, right? I'm doing a pinch on the A minor, and then I would think of the G as you're effectively playing the 2nd string and the 3rd string. But the 2nd string happens before the G bass note, and the 3rd string happens after the G bass note, okay? So practicing it in isolation will help. And then when you're ready, when you can do both halves sort of pretty well slowly without messing up, put them all together. It's going to be trickier, but now, I will say, if you want to sing and do this Travis picking at the same time, I think that amps up the difficulty considerably. You really have to have the fingerstyle down cold. You need to be able to do it while you're having a conversation, right? Effectively, because once you start singing, the rhythm of your voice, when you sing the certain words on the different syllables and stuff, is going to happen at its own rhythmic groove, and you just have to have this automated, right? Okay, so if you want to sing, try simplifying the fingerstyle. Just use what I showed you earlier in the lesson, right? Or just practice what I showed you a lot, right? But let me show you some other fingerstyle variations here, because we can take the main sort of backbone of what I showed you and add notes, remove notes, play a few different ones as well, which will work in the theme of this song. So check this one out. Here's version 2. So what defines this one is compare the first measure of version 1 to version 2. Notice how that first note I'm playing, the first treble note over the C, I'm moving it an eighth note earlier. I'm not doing a pinch anymore, right? The first version I'm pinching it, right? But in version 2, I'm bringing that note on the and count, just after the 1 and before the 2. That's called syncopation. That's going to sort of pull us in a little bit more. And I find it in some ways easier to play because I just think of, hey, I'm playing one note at a time. Bass note, treble note, bass note, right? the second measure, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sort of go up in melody. Right, from first fret to third fret, and then third fret on the thinnest string. Now I'm going to be using my pinky in actuality. And I will say what's tricky about this is your pinky needs to move from the third fret of the second string to the third fret of the first string. And you need to do it kind of quickly. If you can't do it that quick, just remove the second note in that measure, right? This note, this third fret note on the second string. Just skip that note. Do the first fret of the second string, and then third fret of the thinnest string. So, like that. Okay? Because this pinch is important on the A minor, and then this third fret note on the thinnest string is important for the G. You always want to let the most important things remain. If you have to cut anything, cut the filler stuff, right? So that second version again. And then what you can do as you learn these is combine them. Do the first version, and then the second version, and then the first version, then the second version, right? That would sound like this. Okay, just with that, you have a lot to work with there, and you could kind of, you could use those, you could make up your own variations as well as you do this, right? Maybe you pinch on that second C note, or maybe you do the syncopation, right? It's all up to you. You can sort of mix and match this. I'm just showing you sort of stuff that's in the spirit of what Paul Simon's playing. Now, finally, I want to show you this third version, which is going to bring in this sort of little double stop up here on the 7th and 8th fret relative to the capo. If capo is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. In absolute terms, if you ignore the capo and you just think about the frets on the guitar, this is the 10th and 11th fret, assuming you have capo 3rd fret, okay? So what this is going to do is it mimics what you hear right before the first verse starts. It's a nice little sort of tag you can put on things to end things. I'm also going to be wrapping my thumb on that 7th fret note of the low E string. This amps up the difficulty quite a bit, right? But this is a nice one to bake into your practice routine if you feel comfortable with things, right? Here's what it sounds like slow. I'm going to repeat it a couple of times, then I'm going to do it in context, where I'll do version 1, version 2, version 1, then this version 3, and you hear it as a nice exclamation point. So here it is slowly by itself. Okay, you're going to notice that once I pluck that A minor, I'm moving my hand up here. So you don't have to sort of, you don't have to move up here all at once. You do have to move there quickly, but it's because this A minor, you're pinching the 1st string and the 5th string open. That means that your left hand, your fretting hand, is free to move up here, okay? And when you get up here, make sure you get this note first, because that's what you're picking first. So between this note, and this note, I literally push my fingers into those notes in that order. Right? Because you're never playing them with a pinch. Prioritize the fingers that are played first. So let me do version 1, version 2, and then I'll go into version 3, okay? And I ended it with version 1. If you want to get tabs written up in my practice notes, they're available on my lesson page. And also, if you want to get the playthrough videos of me just doing each of these on their own, zoomed in, no talking, for you to reference, that's over on my lesson page as well. I want to give you the sort of goods there to put it all together. All right, friends, so that's going to do it for this main part of the lesson here. With what I've showed you, I think you have all you need to sort of get going with the Travis picking. You can use these variations I've taught you. You can stick to one of them if you want, or you can use all 3. And if you want to use one of the simpler approaches I showed you earlier in the lesson, you can use that while you're strumming or doing simple fingerstyle and singing. This is a tricky song, even though it's only a 4-chord thing that takes place over 2 measures. Paul Simon is such an expert level guitar player that all the all the flourish and flair and dynamics he adds. It's hard to emulate, but again, it's all about finding your own way for what works for you. Now, in part 2 of this video over on my website, I just want to show you a little bonus clip of 4 different versions of a percussive fingerstyle where we're gonna, it's not gonna be Travis picking with the alternating thumb, but we're gonna right? Same idea. Okay, I have tabs for that, and I'll walk through you what I'm doing there. And it's a fun way, again, just to sort of add your bag of tricks if you want to play this song. So again, songnotes.net is my lesson webpage. Check it out, y'all. I have tons of other lessons, tons of other Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon stuff, tons of Travis picking stuff. Members on my website, songnotes.net, unlock all my instructional PDFs. Those don't include the lyric sheets. The lyric sheets for my licensed song sheets, I have about 150 of those. Those are a separate purchase. I've made for some, but not all songs. For copyright reasons, I can't give those away. But my practice notes showing you the chords, the variations, the suggested exercises, strumming tips, plus all my course PDFs and exercise PDFs in general, hundreds and hundreds of those. Those are included with membership at songnotes.net, in addition to access to all my courses, the extended videos I've made, and all that sort of thing. Plus, you access the community forum. It's a great place to come hang out, share sort of songs you want to hear lessons for, or cool versions you've found of this or that lesson or that song. It's a great place to sort of meet like-minded guitarists. So check it out, songnotes.net. I'm grateful to all of you who are supporting me with membership. It keeps these lights on and makes these lessons possible. So I'll see you on the next one. Rich, thanks again for requesting this one. And until then, my friends, take care and bye-bye.